Recently, I've caught myself doing something that I guess I've done for a long time, but just never really even thought about it, and that is reading bad reviews for great movies. And a while back, I thought to myself, that would make a great YouTube video. And I was like, someone has to have done that. And sure enough, I looked it up, and Carson Runquist actually made a video where he read bad reviews for some of his favorite movies. And so I thought to myself, well, there it goes. I can't make that video anymore. But it's been a while since Carson made that video. He hasn't made any more of them. And I was like, you know what? There's a ton of movies out there, ton of bad reviews out there. Let's just read them on camera and see if I can maybe defend them or just laugh at how insane they are. Some of these movies are some of my favorite movies, but a lot of my favorite movies are not widely loved. So I'm sticking with the ones that everyone typically really enjoys. All of these reviews that I'm going to be reading today are coming from an app/website called Letterboxd, which is basically just a film lover's social media. You can rate movies, you can review movies, you can follow other people and see their lists of movies that they've made. It's just a great app. Go follow me. Plus, you can filter out reviews based off of the rating that the person who wrote the review gave that movie. So it's easy to find the bad reviews on this app. So the first movie I'm going to look at is La La Land, which is easily one of my favorite movies of the last couple of years. It's slowly creeping up into my favorites of all time. It's just a great movie. I feel like most people love it. So let's read some bad reviews, shall we? This review just says, this movie has no soul. No. No. This review says Fart Land. I guess it's valid, I guess, but alright. This review says, I tried to give this another chance, but I wanted to die as soon as I saw Ryan Gosling's face. I think that's kind of like a common thing now, is to say that Ryan Gosling is like a boring actor because he doesn't a lot of times have a lot of dialogue, and he's often a stoic character. But I would argue that La La Land's one of his most out there characters, and dude's really got a lot under the surface if you pay attention to it, and don't just take it at surface value, so invalid. Okay, so most of the La La Land reviews are actually about how they're just boring white people, so I don't really know how to comment on that, so I guess we'll just go to the next movie. The next movie up is E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which is just such a heartwarming movie, just magical, and I feel like if you hate this movie, you gotta have a part of your soul that's just missing. I can maybe understand not liking it, but if you hate it, like, come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? This dude says, this film is literally Satan. Don't watch it if you value a good night's sleep and a rested soul. Yeah, because E.T., the most terrifying movie of all time, right? Am I right, guys? Am I right, guys? So generic and only a good movie if you haven't seen a lot of movies. Yawn. Well, seeing as E.T. actually inspired most of what's in pop culture today when it comes to 80s throwback shows and TV, like Stranger Things, Super 8. So I'm guessing this person probably saw it later in their life and had already seen a bunch of stuff that was already inspired by E.T. So maybe that's where they're coming from, and in that case I guess I could see it, but the fact that E.T. is the one that started all of this stuff, I think it kind of cancels out your point. Trash. Overrated due to the nostalgia associated. Next. I'm actually one of the people that saw E.T. later in life. I remember seeing fragments of it when I was a kid, but didn't really sit down and watch it until a couple years ago. I would say that's really far from the truth because obviously I had no nostalgia attached to it and I still loved it. So again, I don't think that's a valid criticism, but hey, who am I to judge? Next, we're going to move on to my favorite movie of last year, which was Marriage Story. Really terrified of the reviews on this one. I'm guessing they're just going to say it's just a bunch of pretentious people dealing with everyday problems. That's my guess. My boyfriend said he would never marry me now, so overall, this film made my life worse. That's not a problem with the movie, though. That's sounds like you got some personal stuff you got to work out with your boyf. At what point am I supposed to empathize with two moderately successful New York artists that haven't built the foundation to a stable relationship because of naivety and narcissism? Perhaps a pessimistic view, but I'll put the success of this film down to boring people liking boring film. Okay, so like I said, I kind of expected that because I think a lot of people watch Marriage Story and it's about an actress and a theater director and they're divorced and they live in New York City in a nice apartment and it's just kind of like, oh, they're just pretentious, this is rich people problems. But I mean, if you've watched the movie, they really get into some human stuff in that movie, and to just say that it's because they're successful that you're bored in the movie, again, not really a valid criticism. I do appreciate this person not just saying it's trash and then not explaining themselves. So I appreciate that. And talking about how they haven't built a stable relationship because of their naivety and narcissism, I feel like that's kind of what the movie's getting at. Without spoiling anything, towards a certain point, I feel like that is very heavily explored, and it's talked about how maybe these two people weren't right for each other in the beginning. So, I mean, that's kind of the point. Noah Baumbach, who is the writer and director of the movie, confuses art with the permission a therapy session allows one to indulge in only yourself. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of a big thing with this movie. The writer and director Noah Baumbach actually went through a divorce, and it's kind of speculated that a lot of Marriage Story is based on his personal experiences. And saying that art cannot be used as a therapy session to like voice your own thoughts and make your way through your own problems is pretty ridiculous, as that's what some of the best artists ever have created through hardship and used it as catharsis, which I'm guessing Marriage Story was a huge catharsis for Noah Baumbach. So this one's ridiculous. I think I'm going to move on now. Now we're going to move on to a movie that I just love so much, and I feel like most people love. It's The Incredibles. I mean, come on. It's The Incredibles. I hate this movie so much because it always played at the dentist, and I hate the dentist, so I hate this movie. Baby movie. Little person who says no capes is annoying. Yeah, he's a baby. Come on, Jack, come on. Left the theater during a lava fight? What? The lava fight's like one of the best parts of the movie. Are you kidding me? Alrighty, folks, we're just going to look at one more movie here, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, this movie's not going to win any Oscars, but it's just so much fun. It's pretty hard to just sit down and not like it. I really like this movie a lot. I feel like most people do, so let's just get right into it. This film is the epitome of special effects over story. Super boring. Also hated the use of 70s pop music. It was just a cheap soundtrack marketing ploy. Yeah, I feel like if you say that, did you just not get what the movie was going for? If you took all of the music out of Guardians of the Galaxy, it would be such a different franchise. And the story is so integrated with the music, or vice versa, I guess. But also, special effects over story. I will say, I feel like a lot of Marvel movies can be that. But Guardians of the Galaxy has such a big heart beating underneath it that you gotta give me something other than just it's super boring and it has no heart. Like, come on, give me something else. The comedy was god-awful. The characters were incredibly corny, and the emotional beats didn't land / felt... Oh, cool, my light died. Comedy was god-awful. The characters were incredibly corny, and the emotional beats didn't land / felt unearned. All in all, this absolutely sucked upon rewatch. Never again. I've had that exact same experience with multiple movies. For instance, Ant-Man. I really, really used to like Ant-Man a lot, and then I guess maybe I watched it too much, or I don't know what happened, but one of the last times I watched it, I really didn't like it, and I thought it was super bland, and I thought most of the jokes were garbage. So, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but of all the Marvel movies to say didn't have emotion, I feel like this is one of the last ones you can say this about. I don't know, man. There's so much heart in Guardians of the Galaxy. Even the second one, which isn't great, has a lot of heart. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. So, thank you guys for sitting with me and reading some bad reviews with me. Again, this is something I just do for fun in my spare time. I don't just sit for hours and read these reviews. I could definitely see making this into a series because, again, there's some amazing movies out there. There's way more. I only got into like 1 or 2 of my favorite movies. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys the next time that I see you.